one of the things we get calls about here a lot at the Master Gardener office are spiders. People will call about spiders in their homes. So we're going to talk about spiders today.
Yeah, spider. That's a good subject for a November talk. I mean, they're fairly easy. Spiders are good. I mean, a lot of people have
insects,
arachnophobia, and scared of insects and critters, and spiders are. There's no reason really to be scared of spiders. They're not aggressive. They're not going to come after you.
Right.
Luckily, we only have 2 in Oklahoma that we really need to be concerned about.
Right.
Everything else are good for that matter. They're not going to bite us. They're not going to kill us essentially at all. So spiders definitely have got a bad rap. You get these movies that put these vicious spiders with big dripping fangs and poison in their fangs, and they bite you, you're going to die. And it's not the case. It's going to be hard for some of you to convince that too, but it's true. My wife's one of them. If they see a bug or a spider, they're stomping on it, and it's not needed. It's not needed. But I think on this Pest of the Week, we're talking about a couple that we need to be concerned about.
The big 2 here in Oklahoma.
So we're going to identify those, and then the others that we don't have to worry about. This fall we've seen some garden orbs, some of them big yellow and green ones.
Those are awesome.
But you got a big pretty nest, and they're waiting on flies, waiting on other insects to land in that nest essentially. Then they'll go and spin it, and it's fun to throw a fly in that nest. They'll cocoon it out real quick, seal it up, and feed it later. And that's fun for the kids to keep them up there to watch them. And like I said, throw those dead spiders or dead insects in. They'll go over and catch them, and that's pretty neat for the kids. And anything we can put in the kids' mind to get them out that they're not a bad thing is good for us.
They're pretty cool. Well, the first one we need to be worrying about here in the homes is the brown recluse.
Brown recluse or fiddleback. Once you identify this guy, once you see it, they're all going to be shaped and colored the same. And then upon further looking, you're going to be able to see the fiddle on its back. So it's going to have some sort of fiddle shape on its back.
Well, like on this, you can see right up there that first section of its body. You can see that brown fiddle.
Yeah.
A little closer up here, you can see it.
See it on the left, and all his crazy eyes. But no, that fiddle, that brown color is pretty common, and then that fiddle or that darker brown on the abdomen of that or thorax of that. So this is going to be a brown recluse. It's going to be about the size of a dime. Maybe a little bigger in some cases. They are reclusive, so they do not like to be around movement, around people. Kind of don't like the light as well, so they're going to get in closets. They're going to get in back in, maybe in pantries. You really see them a lot in garage if you have a lot of boxes and things. Where you
back in the corner deck where nobody goes.
Hidden back there. So so that right there is going to tell you that they're not going to be aggressive. They're going to stay away. Where you'll get bit is if they get into your pants, you leave some pants on the floor, a shirt on the floor, and they're trying to find somewhere out of the way, and they find their way in that. A shoe, a boot. So if you're seeing a bunch of spiders, doesn't have to be a recluse, in your home, then kind of take an extra step, shake those shirts out. If you're like me, my shirts are on the ground. I don't ever get them hung up.
Don't be like him.
Don't be like me. But at least shake them out if you're seeing a lot of spiders and that sort of thing. That'll get them out of there and go on. They're more apt to bite you if you put your shirt on and you hold them against the skin or somewhere like that. You can pick these guys up and move them outside. They're not going to just bite you. They're not telling you to do that, but you can take a piece of paper and simply move them outside or put them in the toilet and flush them or down the drain or something like that. But this is the brown recluse that we've got to worry about.
Well, you mentioned the garage. I've got my shoes that I mow the yard in. They stay in the garage, and every time I go out to put my shoes on, I bang them together and shake them out just for that reason.
Well, whether it's a spider or a beetle or anything that just crawled in there, and you don't want to kill it, so you're going to get it out of your shoe and move it out. But yeah.
So be aware, be cautious. And there's a spider we get people they'll send us pictures of this and say, "Is this a brown recluse?"
Yeah.
Well, no. It looks similar, but this is a little bit hairier, totally different markings. It is that brown.
That brown.
But it doesn't have that fiddle on it.
Yeah, it's not a, the markings are definitely different. Maybe same size. There's a lot of different wolf spiders and a lot of other spiders that may look similar in size,
right.
but that creamy brown color is and it doesn't have the hairs like the wolf spider
right.
that's pictured does. So clearly differences. You may not be able to see it from 5 feet away, but once you get closer, you can notice pretty well. So it works. Lots of different misidentifications, but once you're able to identify the brown recluse, see those shapes, see those colors, it'll be a lot easier for you to identify.
Well, and if your ultimate goal is to keep insects out of your house, these guys are out there eating those insects.
They're out feeding,
they're eating those insects.
Yeah, they're out feeding. So I mean, they're going to be wanting to move in and out, and again, they'll kind of go on a pattern. You'll see a couple, a month that you'll see more spiders than you normally do. September, October, November is that time when those insects are kind of moving from the outside in. So we'll start seeing a lot more movement. And when that's the case, just kind of pay a little more attention. If you got little kids, just kind of knock their shoes out a little bit and go on. Don't worry about it. So
well, and probably teach the little kids that if they see a spider, come get mom or dad or the grown up in the house to come in and take care of it, not for them to go down.
That's right. That's right. So I mean, the brown recluse we're going to see inside, and I think the next spider we have the second spider. Yeah, this is a black widow.
Right.
And black widows, we see a little bit in the house, but we see more of those out in leaf debris, litter outside, maybe around in your pinyon wood where you're, when in the firewood out by the back porch. They're going to try to they're going to get underneath the bark and crevices, leaves, mulch, things like this. So this other one, this is the second one. Like I've said, this is a black widow.
Right.
And it's going to be black on the top. This is from the top looking down. And then I think if we go to the next one, we'll see an hourglass. And this is a good idea.
On the belly.
On the belly.
Which is the downside because you can't ID it for sure.
Can't always. You can go and pick it up and turn it over.
Do not do that.
Do not do that. It's not, again, it's not aggressive. It's just like the recluse. It's not going to be aggressive.
Right.
But if you flip it over or kick it over and see a red dot or a red hourglass,
right.
that's a telltale sign of us saying that's another one of 2 poisonous spiders in Oklahoma.
Right.
So they cause a couple different symptoms. The black widow or this one that's showing, she's going to be a neurological sting. So that sting or that venom is going to get inside our blood and it's going to be more of a systemic inside our system and show the bites that way, versus the
brown
fiddleback. It's going to be a necrosis, so it's going to bite, and then it may or may not show a skin deteriorating bite where it's going to have just right around that bite, it's going to kind of kill the skin that way. So again, they're not going to kill us, but we may get infected from that bite. And we're not physicians or doctors and don't claim to be, but if you do notice a area that you may have thought you had a bite, that's the skin's kind of dying around it, then that's the first sign to go ahead and get to your doctor and see if they can identify it as a bite or just a skin issue that you're having besides an insect.
Right.
So the fiddleback is necrosis around the bite. The black widow is you're going to be kind of achy. You're not going to feel good. You're not going to necessarily have symptoms by the bite. It's going to be around other symptoms other than where that bite is, if you will.
Bottom line, if you've got a bite or you think you got a bite, best to go to the
doctor. And even better, if you think you got bit, whether it's by a mosquito, by a tick, or by a spider, save that insect, save that spider. Put it in a pill bottle, put it in a Ziploc bag, label it at the date, put it in the freezer for later. And that way, a month later, 2 months later, you can come back and actually do a test on that insect if you're showing symptoms. Right. So, I mean, don't get too bogged down on that because they're not going to do a lot of damage to us, but just be aware. of the two spiders that we have that are poisonous in Oklahoma. But I also want to talk about scorpions.
Right.
Scorpions are another thing that we will start seeing more and more as winter comes on, when we're changing from fall to winter. They're coming from the outside in, little bitty house scorpions that we see in Oklahoma. They're not poisonous, but their sting sure does hurt. I would compare their sting to a yellow jacket or something. It's pretty intense for a while. And to a child, getting bit by a scorpion, it's pretty painful for them. It's not poisonous, but painful. So just be aware of that. There's graphics that we've seen on there. We'll show those, but they're not much bigger than an inch and a half in size.
Right.
And again, if you got boots outside, your garden boots, just knock them out. Try to rough them out. They're not aggressive either. They usually will bite you when they get trapped inside clothing or inside boots they're trying to get out. So they're going to do their best, kind of like these other spiders, to get out. So that's when we're going to get bit. So simply shake it off. If we're seeing more insects inside the house, be aware that we're going to see more likely see more spiders and scorpions. So just be aware is my advice for those.
Any major control recommendations on
these
guys?
Not really. I mean, if we start seeing more indoor pests than we like to as a nuisance, we can try to get some spray, some house spray, indoor house spray on our own from our box stores, from our garden centers. Right. Spray around the baseboards, spray around where they're gonna be. As they walk through that invisible spray, they'll pick up some of that chemical and die that way. If it gets bad enough, hire a professional. If you've got a termite person or another pest control company that you use, give them a call and see if it's justified that they spray. It will slow them down a little bit, and then if they become too big of a nuisance, probably wouldn't be a bad idea to spray something to help slow them down a little bit.
I know in my house we've seen a brown recluse, but I don't know, in the house we've been in now, we've been there like 14 years, maybe twice.
Yeah.
We've never seen him in that whole time.
Yeah, so and you're sealed up pretty good. Maybe more in the garage that you're just not noticing, and we're in the garden shed. But it's one of those, I've said this 4 or 5 times, that when we start seeing insects more inside the house, just be aware, and if it gets to be much of a nuisance, you may have to call somebody or try to spray yourself, see if that slows them down. But nothing earth-shattering, nothing that's really going to harm us. Just be aware.